Hello, everyone. It's good to see all of you here. Um, Welcome to those of you who are new. I would love to see who's new. If you can post that in the chat, that would be wonderful. I'm just curious as to who's joining us, who came across some propaganda and decided to give this a try. Okay. All right. And as always, welcome to everyone else. Just a reminder, for our prayer requests, you can go ahead and put prayer requests on the Google Doc that we'll post. Just a reminder, Love and Rage has started again. And this is the last time that we'll be doing it live. So there's still time to sign up, as well. So, and Eric will post that link as well. And then after that, well, quite frankly, after midnight tonight, it's going to be New Saints time. So, so get ready. Yeah. So book release tomorrow, Halloween. Yeah, it's let's see, what's the word? It's a potent time right now for um for all of us. Um, and we have to take care of everything that arises. Everything has to be tended to as well. So we have to consume the chaos as before it consumes us, right? And this is what we're practicing. Um, just offer some lights. Go ahead and getting back into the season of light, of practicing with light, remembering light, praying to the light. So we begin the journey into darkness, actually beginning about right now. Um, so we always remember the light and evoke the light in our practice, the light of clarity, the light of care, the light of love, right? So as we're, moving into the next couple of days of practice, I want to just suggest a practice that you can do at home, a ritual practice um, that I talk about, at the end of the prologue um, of the New Saints. And so it's the practice of just offering a, offering grains and light, um, like tomorrow night in particular. Um, it's believed that, this veil between the seen and unseen world gets a little thin. Um, and so I think it's a really, really quite profound practice and simple to do. But the practice is so at home, taking just a small plate or whatever you have. Um, it can be, anything, but nothing that's like too nice, that if it gets broken or anything, it'll be a problem. But, it can be a paper plate, as well. But taking a plate and just putting like different grains or dry goods on the plate. So like rice or oatmeal, cornmeal, flour even, um, cereal, whatever, nuts, beans, what have you, and just putting that on the plate. And then in the middle of it, just putting a candle. Um, and taking this outside. And really, I would say put it, if you happen to have a front porch, um, or front door, putting it on your porch, on your door. If you have like a back door or a back porch or something, or a back patio that seems a little more appropriate, you can do it there. If you don't have neither of those, putting it actually in front of the front door, inside, um, is also, doable as well. And then you put that plate down wherever you put it, light the candle, uh, and just say just a short prayer that says, please accept these offerings, on my behalf and on behalf of everyone who lives in this space. And may this offering, um, be a cause of happiness, reduce suffering, and may it be in all the ways beneficial for you. Um, and so doing that, it actually, in the mythology, in the superstition, all these wandering beings that get activated during this time of year, they will be more attracted to this offering for them than maybe trying to create disruption or gather, in or around where you live. So, try doing that. It's really simple, like really simple offering, but I have found it to be very powerful offering. Um, but you can do it anytime you want. Also, you can do it every day. But this time of year is when I pay particular attention to kind of earthbound beings, spirits, um, as well. And with, the eclipse kind of still passing through, at least the effects of the eclipse still passing through. Um, I think it's a great way, um, to, just to help. I don't know, right? Um, and the tradition, I mean, this comes out of Tibetan Buddhism as well. Um, there are so many variations of this kind of offering in Tibetan Buddhism. And the thing about Tibetan Buddhism, Vajrayana, most of the practices, I mean, what would I say? I would say probably over half the practices that we train in will probably never be taught to people. One, because there's so many fucking practices to teach to begin with. Secondly, some of these practices, that we go through, actually, we can't really talk about for many reasons. So, with 3-year retreat, the slogan for 3-year retreat is what happens in 3-year retreat stays in 3-year retreat. But I'll just say my 3-year retreat was more like an episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, so take that as you will, because it's a silent retreat. But if there was a camera in my retreat, it would be getting a whole bunch of ratings right now. So, but anyway, not the drama, but the practices. So, Yeah, and offering practices like this are reflected in every indigenous culture in the world, at least the ones that I've encountered, but I assume all of them. The offering, this is how we um return back to a relationship to the unseen and to the physical world and to the natural world. We have to start thinking about our relationship and the space that we take up, right? And colonialism has really disrupted all of that, right? Colonialism actually creates this illusion of autonomy and separateness, that we have a right to dominate, that we are the strongest beings, and we have a right to take what we want, and so forth and so on, right? And we have to return back to a consideration of how we're sharing space with many beings, in this one moment. Because these beings create trouble, like they create havoc, right? And some of the stuff that we struggle with, we're like, oh, I need to like go to the doctor, or I need to like call a plumber. Actually, you need to call a shaman. Actually, um, you you need some land blessings, some land clearing, some soul retrievals, but so many of us have lost that capacity to think about that, you know. Um, but there are, whenever when I'm dealing with sickness, or health issues, I consult everyone. So I consult doctors, I consult my energy workers, I consult my personal shaman, um, I consult my diviner, you know. I do a holistic approach to everything, because I understand that so many of the things that I struggle with or go through are actually these really very complex issues, you know. Um, so everyone, I take advice from all kinds of people, you know. So I think that's really important to always consider, you know. You may sometimes we live in places and you're just like always in a bad mood. Well, I think that like there's something happening in that space, and this is why I'm offering, and we'll begin to offer practices like this, these kind of simple offering practices, because a little bit goes a long way when balancing these energies in our personal spaces, Um, so I'm always making offerings in my house. I have, I would say probably about 20 altars in my house spread out, you know, um, throughout the house. And it's like, this is my worldview now, right? Um, and I think this is important, particularly for right now, as many of you reach out and you say, oh, this is too much, this is too much. And it's too much because we're actually have forgotten a lot of ritual and ceremony that our ancestors were deeply invested in. All of our ancestors were. Like, for some of us, it may be our very far ancestors or early ancestors, but um, we all come from people who had a relationship to the natural world and to the unseen world, and there was a respect for that, you know. Um, and even for I mean, there's all kinds of beings that can kind of I don't want to say invade, but there are a lot of beings showing up around us, and these are some of the ways like we create these kind of energetic um, barriers. And of course, seven homecomings practice, the seven homecoming circle is a can be used as an energetic barrier as well. And I've often used seven homecomings as a barrier as well. Um, and this is particularly for those. I realize I'm saying all this because this is particularly for those of you who are like ultra sensitive and feel really as if you have no agency right now. And I've been there. I've been there before where I felt like just super crowded, but you can just create these barriers. You can also just say no, right? I don't need this. Give me some space. Um, Always asking is really a great first step. You know, just ask, what do you need? What do you want? And then communicate that, right? And then depending on what happens, then you make other choices, you know. Um, yeah. So yeah, so like simple offerings like grains and rice and just put out somewhere with a little candle as an offering, as a really generous gesture is really, quite powerful right now, you know. I'm not gonna ask you to do fire ceremonies in the middle of the night and make offerings into the fire and pray to like the bound beings around. We're not gonna do that, but I do, right? Um, for me, because that's important, because my relationship to the land and to the natural world is an obligation that I have taken on um, in my position, you know. Um, and there's a responsibility and a commitment to that. The more you know, the more responsible you are, So if you don't want to deal with it, then don't know. But since I just told you, you don't have a choice anymore. So there you go. Let me see how this works. All right, friends. So let's get into our practice and see where we get to. Um, and we're gonna do, I'm really feeling um, a kind of um, what do you call it? We're gonna continue with this kind of flow practice that we were doing last week. This kind of like I can't even describe it, but like just I just feel it as a flow, just like an opening and a gentle flow, right? And a gentle deepening and a deepening and a gentle kind of saturation. It's the best I can describe it. But we're going to continue with that in our practice. Um, and this is about attuning and aligning our bodies with this transitional season right now. Okay? It won't be the weirdest thing we've ever done. Not that we do anything weird because, how could I even possibly do that? I'm just super orthodox and traditional in this corner over here. So again, I'll start allowing our bodies to come into a position that feels appropriate for practice. And just turning our minds to thinking about, again, liberation, that we're practicing to get free. And it's okay, like if you're not bought into this yet. You don't understand it. But in this case, we can fake it till we make it. That's really what Buddhism is. It's just faking it till you get there. You are a Buddha, but you don't believe it. So let's just go through the performance. Let's just do it until we get into it, and awaken. So that's what we're doing. This practice is for the liberation of all beings, both seen and unseen. It's the liberation from the causes and conditions of our suffering and the causes and conditions of all beings suffering. And to reduce our suffering, we have to start opening to the care that we need, that supports us in tending to our pain and suffering, and however you're connecting to that suffering right now, be it anxiety, rage, hopelessness, numbness. And these are the components here to begin practice and say, yeah, this is about reduction of suffering and getting free. This is where my suffering is, and this is what I need. I'm just noticing the seat under you, noticing how the seat rises to hold you. Noticing the space around you. The objects, the temperature, the quality of light, any sounds. And just let yourself rest here for a few moments. And when I say a few moments, it means whenever I get ready to do something different. But just rest, right? Just be here and letting go of this desire or this longing to get somewhere else, right? This is all understandable because moving ahead and staying ahead of the suffering is how many of us manage and cope with the intensity of this moment. But once again, I'm not interested in managing and coping. I'm interested in disrupting, abolishing, tending to. Because if you just keep running and stay ahead of the suffering and you think that that's going to get you free, it's not, because what you're actually doing is just running in circles, right? Because it's your suffering, it's your pain that's actually directing you. You know? So that's when we stop and we start going back to lean into the pain. And that's when the cycle begins to stop. Plus, there's nowhere to go anymore. And you don't have to go anywhere. Because in this moment is the medicine that we need. Just as medicine Buddha teaches in the Tantras, just as all the Buddhas teach, there's only liberation in this moment, not in the past, not in the future. Just a little bit longer. And so when you're ready, I invite you just to shift attention just into the material of the mind, just particularly thoughts, emotions, just noticing what's going on, what's arising. And as you notice this material in your mind, particularly the experiences that seem difficult, I want you to to reflect really on how the nature of whatever this thought or emotion is that you're struggling with, that the nature of this material is the same nature as medicine Buddha and all the Buddhas. If you're struggling with fear, for instance, say to yourself, but this fear is also an expression of medicine Buddha, that the nature, the essence of this fear is already liberated, emptiness, energy, space. And that is the same nature as medicine Buddha and all the Buddhas and all phenomena, actually. And this is one of the ways that we start connecting to the deities in the midst of a lot of suffering or crisis, is that we just, even if it's just one thought, a reflection that says, even in this anger, this fear, the Buddhas reside. Even here, Tara resides, or Chenrezi, or Amitabha. Even here, in this, what may feel like darkness, the light of the Buddhas still shine. And as we're kind of situated here, we'll offer our first mantra. Omen la sangye kino soha. which will be in the chat here. Again, Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me. And as we chant this, and we'll chant it 3 times, we'll begin with chanting chant the mantra 3 times. And then at the end, we'll chant again. But as we're chanting, I just invite you to experience, in whatever way feels appropriate, the nature of Medicine Buddha within whatever you're noticing. And focus on one thing, hopefully something mild, right? But be it anger or fear, sadness. As we chant, I wonder if you can sense or feel or intuit the nature or the presence of Medicine Buddha in the depth or in the heart of what you're noticing. And just try it. And begin with Om La Sangye Kino So Om La Sangye Kino So Om La Sangye Kino So Om. And this is where we will also continue with our main mantra. So in this space, this is the first part of our mantra. We'll be just continuing within the space, connecting to the experience of Medicine Buddha and the heart of something that you find uncomfortable or suffering. Again, Teya Taon Bacon say Ma Bacon say Rasa Sumugate Soha, like this. I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering. And I release this energy of this prayer out to all the world so that we all may be liberated. So as we connect to the essence of Medicine Buddha within this experience, how that connection begins to create this benefit, not just for ourselves, but for others. All right. So we'll begin. And of course, you can just listen. You can chant along in your own space as well. Ot ea dam begenze la begenze, brazo sumungate soa. Ea dam begenze 백은세 아 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 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 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 아 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 아 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 아 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 대한다운 백은세 백은세 마 백은세 라서 수무가 되소와 I'm gonna now just turn into our prayer requests. But before I offer the prayers, just returning back to the practice and just this connection, maybe that you're experiencing or tuning into in terms of connecting to Medicine Buddha. I wonder if you, as I'm offering the prayer requests, I wonder if you can imagine that these prayer requests are these expressions of energy that begin to be fed, offered into this connection to Medicine Buddha. And as more and more prayers are offered to Medicine Buddha, that the experience of Medicine Buddha begins to grow, expand in your mind to a point where it feels as if your whole mind is nothing but an expression of Medicine Buddha. As Medicine Buddha has consumed these prayers and grown to meet the needs of these prayers. So try working with that as I offer the prayers. We're offering prayers for Janie, who has a nodule on her left lung. Offering prayers for Ronnie and Charles Jr. separately in the hospital. And prayers for me having some cold flu symptoms the last few days. Offering prayers for my cousins as we endeavor to do a land project with extended family. Offering prayers for me as I move. Offering prayers for my friend, may his body be healed. Offering prayers for myself, may my physical symptoms ease. Prayers that Palestine be free. Gratitude, offering prayers of gratitude for deepening faith. Offering prayers that my partner finds a job soon. And offering prayers that I may be free. Offering prayers for my mother, Jane Lennon, who is stressed out about upcoming criminal sentencing. Offering prayers for my healing, cleansing, and recovering from a severe spiritual attack. Offering prayers for Elizabeth, Mitchell, Rodriguez, Christopher, Keller, AYC, APC, and all the beings I've met in the last year. Offering prayers for E as chemo becomes harder, as she bears the suffering with ease, and that the cancer goes away. Offering prayers for J as her husband descends into Alzheimer's, as she finds support and emotional resources. Offering prayers for A that the upcoming job interview goes well. Offering prayers for R that she continue to grow her new acquaintances into friendships. Offering prayers for me that I find a direction on vocational paths. Offering prayers for all of our beloveds holding us and all of our benefactor circles. Offering prayers for Mama Justin, Mama Rod, Mother Aisha, that they always have what they need to be well and continue their work. Offering prayers for Kim, who is sick from her cancer treatment, that she feels relief and healing. Offering prayers for me as I let go of my fantasy that my mother would have been a different mother, and let go of the fantasy that there is anything lovable about her. Prayers for Rich as he heals from surgery. Offering prayers for Dean that he may heal completely through his chemo and radiation. Offering prayers for everyone in Palestine. May they feel, hear, and see our prayers of light and strength. Offering prayers for myself that I may allow myself to radically receive love and care in this body and in this life. Offering prayers for Johan, who is in the process of being diagnosed with cancer. Offering prayers for Heidi, who is working so hard to shine her light and always praying for others. May she find balance. Offering prayers for Diego, who left this world unexpectedly and is passing through the bardo now. Offering prayers for my job search and creative projects. Offering prayers of protection for my daughter. Offering prayers for my beloved. May he have all the resources he needs to continue his brilliant path in this life. Prayers for Bill. May he have all he needs to care for himself and his family. Offering prayers for Trisha as she continues to work with cancer and chemo. May she have all she needs to live and love and be loved fully. Offering prayers for my neighbors and myself for dealing with the landlord and their housing safety. Offering prayers for my chiropractor and his family whose house burned down and their beloved dog who lost her life. Offering prayers for the safety of those around me, prayers for their peace of mind. Offering prayers for Palestine, prayers for us all to have our hearts open, prayers that we all may be free and safe. Offering prayers for Greg and his family as they anticipate loss. Prayers for me that I may find a healthy job so I can build a future with my partner. Prayers for everyone experiencing any kind of war. Offering prayers for myself, my partner, and his little spirit as we move through miscarriage. And this little spirit as we move through miscarriage. Offering prayers for all the ancestors here with us as the veil is thin, that they may be liberated. We're offering prayers for all torn by spiritual and physical wars, broken spirits and hearts, burnout and loss of strength. Offering prayers for peace in our hearts. Offering prayers for Pat, newly diagnosed with brain cancer, for Lama Rod who recently passed into the bardo. Prayers for my son for help with his depression, ADHD, getting what he needs for support in all areas. For all people to wake up to interconnectedness and value all life on this planet. May we all receive the healing we need to see this and act accordingly. For everyone suffering the effects of gun violence, most recently the mass murders in Lewiston, Maine. Offering prayers for my anxiety and whatever it is that makes it hard for me to sleep well at this time. Prayers for the 4 deer I saw today. May they move safely through this world. Offering prayers for my dear Bodhisattva dog, Bella, who died last week. Offering prayers that I may arise and awaken. Offering prayers that I may see and feel the light shining through the cracks. Offering prayers for SB, who is celebrating 39 returns of the sun. May she know peace and easeful love, release, and renewal. Offering prayers for my students. May they learn to trust themselves as I practice the same in their presence. Offering prayers for my mother, who recently had a nasty fall and is recovering. May her pain and fear and ease as she continues her healing and transitions to whatever may arise next. Prayers for all those continuing to live with the devastations of colonialism. Prayers for my family to stay safe and healthy and to continue to find joy and an end to their suffering. Offering prayers for me that the snakes in my back deliver the message they came to deliver, and for the trees and the water, my collaborators in healing, that may tell me what they need to heal too, and that we continue to discover the truths we need to heal together. Offering prayers for all people suffering in Congo and DR Congo. Offering prayers for all siblings and myself who are suffering and grieving and feeling helpless and sick. Prayers to my mom who is struggling. Offering prayers for for clean, safe air in this apartment building. That the owners open their hearts and do the right thing. Where I get health and stamina for a better, healthier housing opportunity. Offering prayers for Sammy and for Marcia, that her anxiety may be soothed in the way it needs to be. Offering prayers for all those suffering, unthinkable suffering at the hands of oppressive states and militaries. prayers for all the children, prayers for my ancestors and guides as I ask them for help. Offering prayers for dissolving the remnants of insecure attachment and cycle of violence that are still alive in my body and in our bodies, for Palestinians, for ending the cycles of violence, for welcoming, moving, and loving the heartbreak, the loss, and the pain, for finding the revolutionary act of being joyful and pleasurable. And I continue to offer prayers for Yasmin for healing through her cancer journey, for my uncle Donnell, that the recent surgery helps him to recover quicker. Offering prayers for Stacy and a healthy last stage of her pregnancy. We continue to offer prayers for Shantae, that they have everything that they need for deep healing and liberation. I continue to offer prayers for all beings, all people, both seen and unseen, who still struggle and are harmed by systems of violence and institutions of oppression. May all systems of violence be completely abolished, and may we awaken into a liberated future where our most essential labor will be to love and to receive love. May all those here in this space, in this electronic digital space, may we all have what we need in order to continue the work of liberation. And may all unspoken prayers also be offered to the profound awakened nature of Medicine Buddha. May we all be healed, may we all get free as quickly as possible. And just releasing the last energies of this prayer into the essence of Medicine Buddha, awakening within our own minds. As we move into the last part of our mantra practice, we begin to imagine that everything, not just our minds, but all the phenomenal world begins to transform into an expression of Medicine Buddha. O Teya Taum Begenze Begenze Ma Begenze Rasu Gate Soa Teya Taum Begenze Begenze Ma Begenze Rasu Gate Soa Teya Taum Begenze Begenze And just imagining that Medicine Buddha begins to dissolve into emptiness, that really everything dissolves into emptiness and space. And our awareness just mingles with emptiness and space. When you're ready, allowing the physical body to re-arise. And as it does so, shifting your attention to the seat under you. Connecting to the seat again, feeling the seat rising to hold you. Beginning to bring some movement back into your bodies, and actually maybe even going through a few deep cleansing breaths would be useful. Then we're going to turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we'll recite 3 times. We begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, in a boat, a bridge, a passage, a boat or bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. May I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right. Thank you for your practice. Since we have a few minutes, I'll just open up for a couple of questions, especially questions from people who never ask a question as well. That'd be wonderful. You can put them into the chat or you can unmute yourself to ask a question. I prefer unmuting just because there are nuances to questions that I can only pick up when they're being spoken to me. But whatever feels appropriate for you.
Go for it, Marianne.
And also, just by the way, I'm only taking questions from people who have pre-ordered New Saints as well. So just a little stiff. You have a minute to go on and order it right now if this is meaningful for you. Okay, I'm kidding.
I'll do it right after Lama
Okay,
Rod.
okay.
So I'm coming back because you asked me to come back with this question again a
Yeah,
second time later on.
yes.
Um, so and I felt your presence, by the way, like looking into my mind after that medicine did the last time when I asked this question. I felt like I could totally feel you looking at me, and that was appreciated. So thank you.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and so the question was, I like I don't even know how to describe this because I've been having a lot more visions with through medicine Buddha.
yeah.
In the past, before I was really Buddhist at all, I would have some visions as well,
Okay.
and they would always they always proved true in the end. You know,
Okay.
they always proved true.
Yeah.
And with this one, I've had this vision, and it all signs are pointing to no so far. That like this is probably not going to be a thing that comes about.
Yeah.
And and I was confused by this discrepancy, by this difference. And I mean, last time after I thought, well, I guess maybe it's possible that this could still come to pass. But um, like I said, at the moment, like if I want to live in reality, I have to admit that like it pretty much looks like this is not a thing that's going to happen. And but the funny thing was, I was not looking for this vision. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't seeking it. It came to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and that's what's so confusing about it. I'm like, well, how? I just don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're making too much of it, actually.
Mm,
I think that it, it may be something else. I know that
mm,
you know, you, I know you have a felt sense and a method to determine, what feels prophetic. Um, but it may be something a little different, something that
mm,
you know, um, I think it's just it's not what you think it is,
mm,
or there's a deeper meaning to it that you haven't gotten to.
mm, mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
and it may be that this vision has been shifted as well. I think maybe sometimes there are like replays that kind of get stuck in our experience until we kind of like unplug that energy and let it go. The way you have to give experiences like this lots of space. And when we kind of fixate it on it like this and try to force it to be something, then it doesn't have the space to evolve, to change, or to release itself.
Mm.
I mean, all this, I mean, everything that I'm saying could be it, right? But I would say just like don't worry about it.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, I'm getting more there. I'm getting more there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And buy the book. All right. So who's next? Who's next? Anyone else?
Yeah, I can give an intro if that's what feels good for folks. I might mispronounce your names, but if you have your hand raised, please feel free. Whoever raised first.
I only see Andrea.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hi. Thanks. And thanks as always for the practice, which has been changing my life for a while. So thank you deeply. Um, so today you had asked us to think about an emotion or feeling or thought. And I think something like realizing how medicine Buddha is a part of that, could be a part of that feeling or something like that. And the thing that's been pressing on me for a while is really severe chronic pain. And I just felt like I didn't know how I can invite Medicine Buddha to see that and to send me or everybody with things like that some kind of healing, but seeing chronic pain that might not ever end in Medicine Buddha, I couldn't really figure that out. Like, and I came to some sort of spaciousness, with those things combined, but I just wondered about approaches to that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what this particular kind of practice is asking us to do is to get a little closer to these sensations.
Closer to the what?
To get closer, the practice like this are asking us to get closer. But I don't think that it's necessarily about leaning forward into things that we're really struggling with. It's just considering that this experience, at the heart of this experience, could be medicine Buddha, and that's it. So the chronic pain that comes up, for me, or when I experience certain, really difficult sensations, I'm like, oh, okay, this is definitely arising out of emptiness itself, and maybe that's all I can do, and then I have to go and tend to that pain or manage that experience in whatever way, whatever, practices that I have, techniques. But that's it. It's not to fall into it, but to say even this experience is arising out of emptiness.
Okay. I feel like that's a koan or something, and that's okay with me. Like it's like, yeah, it's like a mystery a little bit, but also clear. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if anyone is getting the stuff the first time around. I think it's important. Like a koan, like you sit with it. A koan isn't meant, you're not supposed to find the answer to a koan. You're supposed to actualize the kind of disruption that a koan actually invites around rigid thinking, systematic thinking. It's supposed to release us, you know. A koan is easy to answer relatively, but it's the process of understanding the answer that's meant to change us, in the process. So, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Anything
Gail?
else?
Gail?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Awesome. I have been revisiting some of the older episodes of the Chenrezig practices, and you had mentioned that maybe there could be a Chenrezig transforming into Mahakala practice at
Oh
some
yeah.
point.
Hmm.
I noticed that each deity seems to have their own role. Each deity seems to possess like their own like special kind of flavor of what they can offer us in practice. And so I was wondering if you were still interested in doing the Mahakala at some point.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You
it's gonna
know,
happen. Yeah.
yay, okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's definitely happening. So that's gonna come about um possibly in the new year, right? Um,
Ooh.
yeah. But it's interesting, with Buddhas, um, you know what? We have more agency to interpret Buddhas than we think. What I'm trying to say is that, like, what's a good example? It's like, I don't know if this is a great example, but I'll try. It's like going to a salad bar. And this is probably as far as this is going to go because I haven't thought this one out. But like, it's like so the Buddhas are like a salad bar, and you get your plate and you go and everyone makes a different salad from the salad bar, right? And it's not that the salad bar is telling you what to make. You just go, you have desires, and that's the salad that you make, right? And that's how we can approach the Buddhas, like they're just they're just kind of like this buffet.
Right.
We show up to the buffet and we have dietary needs and we make our plates based upon those dietary needs. In this case, right, we approach a Buddha and we say, this is what I need. And the Buddha shapes
Mm.
themselves around our needs because a bodhisattva, as we chant in Shantideva's prayer, the bodhisattva becomes what the person needs or what we need,
Yes.
because the bodhisattva and the Buddhas have transcended ego. So there's actually absolutely no limitation in what they can become, you know.
Mm.
And so what happens with lineages and practices that we have, right, is that someone had a need and they shaped the Buddhas around that need and they codified and systematized that practice and it became a lineage, so that others of us who maybe don't have that deep kind of agency can use this practice that was born out of someone else's agency and still get deep benefit from it, you know. So this is why I say at the beginning of practices now, what do you need? And let the Buddhas meet those needs, you know.
Mm.
It's wide open, but really what the container that holds all of this is that does this get us free? Like that's always the
Mm.
framework.
Mhm.
No matter what Chenrezig turns into, does it still help us to get free from dualism? and ego? Does it deepen self-love and care for ourselves and for others? That's what we're always measuring Dharma against. Dharma liberates. As long as it liberates, it's Dharma.
Mm,
If it doesn't
yes.
liberate, then you're doing something different. You're doing something else. you know.
I just feel like because I have had the most consistent practice and contact with Medicine Buddha and Chenrezig, like because I have this, I have relationships with these in particular. Um, but I am open to learning more, of course, and kind of excited to do that because as you said, it's like everyone has their, you know, the salads, there's so many options. And I do want to try them all at some point. Um, apparently I really love salad, I guess.
You're good. Yeah, yeah, that's see that's right. Right. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, thank
everything
you.
is fluid and flexible and expanding. And our suffering arises from this illusion that everything's fixed and rigid and contained. You know, and that's the ego is helping to do that, right? But like we're trying to expand, and this is what the evolution that we're experiencing right now is really about. It's about expansion, but that expansion means that things have to fall apart, you know, like things break apart, things fall apart, right? And you have to experience that breaking away at the same time you're experiencing the expanding into space, you know. Um, but as things fall apart, there are those of us who hold desperately to the old ways, you know. Or, in another language, the old world system is collapsing right now. That's the apocalypse. It's collapsing. It's ending, right?
I kind of hope so because it's not working so far. So
Well, it never really
something
worked.
else needs to happen. Something else.
Yeah,
Please.
something else. But there are those of us who are like, no, I don't want this to end, for many different reasons, because I'm comfortable, because this is what I know, because I don't want to deal with the unknown. I don't want to put the labor into getting free from relying on these systems and institutions, And so what you're seeing is that there are people, again, I say this all the time now, like there are a lot of people who aren't interested in freedom, right? And those people are becoming painfully obvious. I know because, so many of you are reaching out saying that like you're beginning to understand that there are people who are around you who like aren't choosing the expansion and the space and the possibility and the potential of what could happen, but they're holding on, and these are the folks, I mean, you can't save anyone, obviously, right? We have to consent to freedom. We have to consent to do the work of getting free, but there are people who will not consent to that work, and you should go ahead and just start mourning that, you know. Um, and it's okay because there's no such thing as the end. This is. I mean, there's no ending. You know. So there may come a time when people are ready to get free, and I hope so. This is why we do the prayers that we do. We are praying that one day all beings choose freedom. You know, that we pray that soon it will be their time. In the same way, there have been many beings in our past lives, maybe this life too, that had to kind of leave us alone and wait for us to get free, or choose to get free, right? Um, so we always have to consider ourselves in this. It's like we have been the beings who have fought against getting free and may have gotten in the way of other beings getting free, and that's okay. We can recognize that, we can apologize, we can offer prayers, but the best way to reconcile that is to become a bodhisattva or a new saint, right, is to become a bodhisattva and to say, you know what, I was in the way in the past, but now I am the medicine, I am the bridge for beings to get free. You know, I was the stone, the big boulder in the pathway, preventing beings from getting free. Now I am clearing that boulder and becoming the path itself. And that's what a bodhisattva is. The bodhisattva becomes the path. And that's how you reconcile with all the ways that we've created harm by becoming obstacles for other beings in their liberation work. Mhm. Yeah, and it's okay. You know, it's not as intense as you think it is. Because from this perspective, we're hugging to ego. And the ego is saying, you know, we can't do this. This is impossible. But once the illusion of ego begins to be realized and actualized, then you lose consent to become the medicine. Like you just become when we start actually realizing the illusion of ego, you instantly become medicine for people and for all beings. Right? That's what we're going for, and there's no fear there. You know, it's because you know that you're evolving back to who you really are. You know, and it's hard to understand that. It's hard to get that right now because we're so fixated to the physical material world and the sense of ego, which seems really confining. That's what we know, right? But when these boundaries, this rigidity begins to be disrupted, you begin to remember, oh, this is what I was, you know? It's like something that you used to do all the time, and then you stop doing it, right? And then you go back to doing it, and it's like, oh, I remember this. Why did I stop doing this? You know, that's what this awakening process can feel like. It's just like a slow remembering. And you're like, oh, this is what I am, you know. And the intensity of the phenomenal world begins to soften. It doesn't go away, but it softens. And it becomes durable. It becomes manageable. It becomes something that can be metabolized, you know. But you begin to move through the world and to say, yeah, this world is important. You know, there are things that I'm here to help with, and this is also just this, you know, this illusion, this program that's out of control now, right? Once you begin to understand that you have consented to samsara or the carceral state creating you, and you start taking that agency back, then you start losing fear. You start losing the fear. You start cutting through the fear of the phenomenal world. The anxiety begins to dissipate, you know, because you're returning back to space itself. And because you're doing that, you become the medicine for other beings. And other beings rely on you. They begin to tune into you, right, as a source of support, right? And it doesn't feel overwhelming or burdensome at all. It's not like it's not like you're trying to hold on to everyone, you know, and just get people out of here. It's that like you just become like the sun. You just radiate medicine, you radiate light, you radiate care, right? It's because you're remembering that you are the sun, you know, not this rock hiding under a bushel, you know, or a light is in the Bible, a light hidden under a bushel. You know, you are the light that has to be exposed because the world needs to be illuminated, you know, and you just shine, right? And remember, if you shine, everyone around you is going to shine, you know. So when you shine, know that like you're giving people something really important. You know? So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you, everyone.
Happy Book Day Eve.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lama Rod.
Absolutely. Um, awesome. And
Thank
yeah,
you, everyone.
and just sign, just visit websites and everything, sign up for stuff, what's coming up, so Love and Rage, we still have some spots left. November 11th is open for registration, so everything, and yeah, and I hope you all get your books tomorrow if you've pre-ordered. Or by the end of the week, and we'll see. Okay, thank you, everyone.